America, as we turn to our next story, and the Colombian President Gustavo Petro addressed the Organization of American States Permanent Council in Washington on Wednesday, questioning the relevance of multilateral institutions and calling for global democratic reform. Petro met with OAS Secretary General Albert Ramdin before his intervention on his third day visiting Washington. The Colombian leader criticized the United Nations for failing to prevent what he described as a genocide in Gaza, stating its existence was being questioned due to its lack of power. Petro proposed a dialogue between civilizations and global democracy as alternatives to weakened multilateral institutions, warning that humanity had limited time to address climate and social crises. He also addressed the fentanyl crisis, describing it as a deadly poison rather than a psychoactive substance that reflects a humanity without hope or direction. Let's listen in to what Petro said.
Si Naciones Unidas fue fundada para que no hubiera más genocidio como el que cometió el Estado alemán de los nazis frente a soviéticos, chinos con los japoneses y judíos y otros pueblos del mundo. Si fue fundada para eso y no pudo detener el genocidio en Gaza, ¿para qué sirve? Está cuestionada su existencia, así de simple. No tiene poder.
Matthew Vadum joins us now, an American journalist and author. He joins us live from the American capital of Washington. Matthew, thank you very much for discussing this story with us. Of course, this comes as Donald Trump met Petro in the White House, a significant meeting of two clashing ideologies. But this visit, an analysis of the Western Hemisphere and some strong statements coming out from the Colombian president. What does Gustavo Petro mean by questioning the relevance of multilateral institutions, in particular, of course, the United Nations?
I think that Gustavo Petro means that these large international organizations are not left-wing enough. He wants for example, he wants the OAS, the Organization of American States, by American states meaning the Western Hemisphere, North and South American, and Latin American countries. He wants them to have much more of a focus on global warming policies and redistribution of wealth and the things that fall in with his socialist worldview. Remember, he was a communist guerrilla fighter before, in a terrorist group, in a revolutionary group anyway, before he became president of Colombia. So when he is criticizing multilateral organizations, it is because he doesn't believe they lean far enough to the left. And that's the direction he wants to push them in, including the Organization of American States.
And Matthew, what have you made of Petro's visit to the United States? Of course, Donald Trump imposed sanctions on the Colombian president and issued some pretty aggravating statements towards him directly after the United States captured President Nicolas Maduro. Have you seen his visit as valuable to the Western Hemisphere?
I don't know if it's valuable I don't know if Petro contributes anything of value to the world, but he is doing this to improve his standing. Remember, he doesn't like that the United States invaded Venezuela and seized Nicolas Maduro on drug charges and brought him back to the United States to stand trial. So, he is a little insecure, and if I were him, I would be too. And he is trying to the extent that he can, play nice with Donald Trump, because he is afraid of what the United States might do to him. This is the first leftist president that Colombia has ever had, to the best of my knowledge, and he is in he's in uncharted waters, and I can see why he feels the need to to go on these public relations campaigns, to go on a world tour in order to bolster his image abroad and at home. This is self-protection.
Matthew, is cooperation not important, though, given the fact that the United States and Colombia are long-time allies? Biden, of course, labelled Colombia a crucial non-NATO ally previously, and Petro, of course, is a democratically elected leader.
Well, he's a democratic socialist, which means he's a Marxist. But it is important that Colombia and the United States have a good relationship. They have been friendly for a long time, and it could be that President Petro recognizes that he's gone a little bit too far, like when he visited the United States a few months ago and got riled up in a speech in New York and urged U.S. soldiers to mutiny against President Trump. And I thought, wow, I'm surprised he wasn't expelled immediately as persona non grata from the United States. So I think he probably recognizes that he's gone a little bit too far, and he's trying to make the best of a bad situation, and he's trying to restore some of the trying to make the relationship between Colombia and the United States work better than it has over the last few months.
We've seen Donald Trump meet with people of opposing ideologies, of course, the likes of Zoran Mamdani in the Oval Office. We've seen a meeting between Lula da Silva and Trump. Of course, verbal differences have occurred, and sanctions have even been involved with a number of these leaders. But does that show Donald Trump's openness and willingness to work with people with opposing ideologies?
Certainly, he's the president, and he recognizes that he's the head of state and for the United States, and he needs to reach out to people who have opposing political viewpoints. Look how soon after Zoran Mamdani, the communist, now mayor of New York City, was elected, he invited him to the White House and gave him a very friendly reception, because New York is a big, important city in the United States, and it's probably a good idea for the President of the United States and the mayor of New York City to have a working relationship. So, Donald Trump talks trash, to use an expression, a lot of the time, denounces people, writes, seemingly unhinged social media posts on his website, Truth Social. But, when he comes face to face, he's willing, to talk to people. And he's not, ultimately, he is pragmatic. He knows when things are not going his way, and he knows how to pull back. For example, even though he believes very firmly in the ICE mission of deporting illegal aliens, he recognizes that the public has, to an extent, recoiled at some of the more aggressive tactics that federal immigration agents have been using, and so he's dialed back the campaign a bit, bowing to public sentiment. So, he wants to do things a certain way, but if he sees that it's not working, he is willing to change course.
Matthew Vadum, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. Pleasure to talk to you as always. But that is all that we have time for this hour. Keep watching NewsX World for more international news updates.
In the midst of this, life persists. In the midst of untruth, truth persists.